For more about the upcoming Texas primary, also last night's Democratic debate, and all the week's political news, we have three of the smartest political minds in the country. Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for the New York Daily News and Lou Dobbs Tonight contributor Michael Goodwin, syndicated columnist and Lou Dobbs Tonight contributor Miguel Perez, and New York bureau chief for the Washington Post, Keith Richburg. And thank you all for being here. You know, we just went through this highly complicated, I hope you followed it. But let's look at the poll numbers for Texas. I think they'd be very instructive. And it looks pretty much like a dead heat. We have Clinton at 48% and Obama at 47%. Miguel, give me your quick answer on that.
I think Obama has the momentum. I think he's going to surprise everybody in Texas. I think the Hispanic vote that everybody is attributing or assuming that it's going to the Clintons, I think has been shifting gradually toward Obama. And I think he's going to surprise everybody in Texas. Big
race, 193 delegates. Michael?
Right. Well, there has been a pattern throughout the last group 10 states or so where she tends to have a lead, and then he wins before that, and the polls begin to shift as the campaign moves to that state. And we've already seen some of that in Texas. She had a 10-point lead, I know, at one point, and maybe even more than that, but a couple of weeks ago it was 10 points. So now it's tied. I didn't think she did very well in the debate last night, so I suspect that will help him as well.
We'll get to the debate in a second. Keith?
I agree with that. That Washington Post ABC poll, I think, had some really ominous news for Hillary Clinton just because she was ahead by double digits a couple weeks ago, and now they're essentially tied.
Now, what about this less than 5% gain, if she's less than 5% win?
Well, that's the huge problem for her, which is even if she wins, by a narrow margin, she'd have to win by a landslide blowout to accumulate enough delegates to overtake him. So even winning for her, although it, gives her bragging rights and she can claim she stopped his momentum, she's going to have to make up something like 150 delegates before she can actually claim that it's a real tie.
Well, and also what's going on in the meantime, because of his momentum, is that superdelegates a few have abandoned her. Some of the undecideds are going with him. So in the period where she can't do anything, she can't win until March 4th, she's still losing superdelegates during this time.
And so there's been a request by her campaign, if you're not...
Right, freeze it.
Freeze it, just wait.
Yeah, you want to freeze it, but it's not really...
It seems fair enough, right?
Well, but there's no reason why people, maybe the delegates from Texas, but those who have been in states that have already voted, there's no requirement. That's the whole thing. There are no rules.
That makes good sense. Let's take a look at Ohio while we're at it, because this is a 1-2 punch here. And we have Clinton just slightly ahead, 50% to Obama's 43%. There's a Cleveland debate coming up, a big economy, health care issues. That's very important to this group. Some suggested that this area may be, especially Cleveland, may be Hillary country because of the sort of blue-collar workforce there. Next 10 days are key, right, Miguel?
Yeah, but especially in Ohio with the Teamsters endorsing Obama, I think that may shift things around for Obama. But, in response to what some of my colleagues here were saying, if Hillary manages to win by a very narrow margin in Ohio and Texas, Obama still has the lead, and then it drags probably into the Democratic convention, and that's what they want to try to avoid. They don't want to leave it up to the superdelegates. They don't want to leave it up to Michigan and Florida, because then it's really going to get ugly.
Thoughts on Ohio, Michael?
Well, I agree with Miguel to the extent that nobody wants the superdelegates to sort of break a tie, but in fact they're going to. There's no way either one can get a majority without the superdelegates. So it's just a matter of how and when you get there. Ohio is clearly key. I think that one problem for the party is it doesn't want to have a nominee who's lost the last couple of primaries, the last big ones anyway.
Right.
So if she does beat him, then he is wounded in that way, and it will keep it going forward. It may not give her the delegates she needs, but they'll have to go forward because the party wants the winner to come into the convention as a winner, not as a wounded leader.
Yeah, and this divided convention could be very destructive. Go ahead, Keith.
No, absolutely. I was going to say, Ohio has almost the exact same demographics as Wisconsin, except bigger. And and that's a state that she should have won. Ohio is a state that she should win. You've got blue collar workers there. You've got unemployment, a lot of union members, a lot of older Democrats there. It just doesn't look good because Wisconsin should have been her state and it wasn't.
The seniors are mostly for Clinton, though.
Well, they should be for her, but we'll have to see if that maintains. She's been able to hold on to them. That's pretty much been the only group she's been able to hold on to. And we'll just have to see whether his momentum is now so much with the Teamsters endorsements, with all these super delegates coming out, whether she's just going to get swamped on March 4th.
Another big issue in Ohio, as we're talking about Ohio, is the health care issue. And Clinton has a slightly more detailed plan, Obama's plan, would leave out many Americans. Does she have an advantage over that? Because healthcare, after all, is one of the biggest issues, especially in Ohio.
I think when they discuss the intricate details of both plans, basically they confuse all Americans. And nobody understands anything of what they're talking about. They really need to clarify things.
Yeah, I think there's some weakness in her plan in the sense of a mandate and the issue of how it would be enforced, how you would basically penalize somebody who chooses not to buy health insurance, even if they can't afford to. So this is a very complicated subject, and it's the pure complications, as Miguel said, scare people so much that even if it's a good plan, it might not, get any traction. And don't forget, it still has to get through Congress. Yeah. So the notion that if we get Hillary, we're getting this plan.
Right. It's such an emotional issue, too.
Just to add on that, too, I agree with everything there. From the one thing that struck me from that debate last night is they basically agree on health care. They basically agree on immigration. They basically agree on economic policy. She tries to say there are these great fundamental differences between them. There aren't really. So people are voting, do you like Hillary or do you like Barack Obama? Who do you think can actually inspire people, implement the change, or is her experience more important? Right, people aren't going to vote on the health plan.
Let's try to bring it back to issues. We'll handle a couple more issues when we go, but we'll take a break. We'll have more with our panel coming up. First, Election Center coming up at the top of the hour. John Roberts joins us now. John, what are you